In hindsight, would you say that when COVID hit the economy and we injected $5 trillion of fiscal policy into the economy, and the Fed did quantitative easing and other related things, kept interest rates very low, would you say in hindsight that was a mistake or was the right policy at the time?
So I think you have to go back to the decisions that were made in real time, and it was something nobody had ever seen. The global economy came to a virtual standstill. People were talking about depression. People were talking, and we didn't think, we had no idea when we would get vaccines that worked. So Congress took very strong measures, and we took very strong measures. And you see where the economy is. You've got a very, very strong labor market, but you have high inflation. As I mentioned, we're at the beginning of getting that down. If you look around the world, though, at other countries, they're also experiencing high inflation, including countries that didn't do as much as we did, either from a fiscal or monetary standpoint. So that tells you, though, that a big part of this inflation is actually related to the pandemic itself, the shutdown and then the reopening. That's a big part of it.
Now, the quantitative easing program has increased the balance sheet, I guess, of the Fed. And what is your balance sheet now?
I think it's $8.4 trillion.
You must sound like you know. Sounds $8.4 trillion.
That was yesterday's number.
Okay, all right, $8.4 trillion. What would you like it to get down to over the next year or two? Is there some lower number?
So we are in the process of shrinking the balance sheet actively, actually passively, I should say. So what happens is as Treasury securities on our balance sheet mature up to a cap, a monthly cap, the balance sheet shrinks in that amount. Same thing with mortgage-backed securities as they are prepaid or so the balance sheet is shrinking. In terms of the target level of it, we haven't put a specific dollar number on it. The idea is we're in a regime of ample reserves. Reserves are basically deposits at the reserve banks. And when we get close to that level where we feel that reserves are ample, kind of where we were before the pandemic, then we'll slow down and we'll sort of test where we are. But it'll be a couple of years, we think, till we get to that level.
The Fed does not sell securities. They waits for them to mature, and then you just cash them in, right? You're not in the market selling securities that are not yet mature. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's also correct, though, that we've said we would consider sales of mortgage-backed securities, but I will tell you that's not something that is on the list of active things being actively considered.
So there's some people that are worried about the federal debt limit and that we might not be able to extend it on time. We have $31.4 trillion of debt. Are you a little worried about the debt limit not getting extended?
So the debt limit is really something for the fiscal authorities to deal with. The Fed, our only role in this is that we're the fiscal agent of the Treasury Department. We're not a policymaker on that. And I will just say this. This really can only end one way, and that is with Congress raising the debt ceiling in a timely fashion so that the U.S. can pay all of its bills when and as due. That's what has to happen. And if that doesn't happen, no one should think that the Fed has the ability to shield the financial markets or the economy from the consequences of moving too slow.
So you don't have any program in place ready to go if, in fact, the debt limit isn't passed in time?
This is something that Congress has to deal with.
And the so-called trillion-dollar gold coin solution is not one you're in favor of, I guess.
As I said, this ends in only one way,
okay.
And that way is Congress voting to raise the debt ceiling so that the U.S. can pay all of our bills.
Okay. In terms of consultation, do you consult regularly with the Treasury Secretary or the head of the National Economic Council or the President of the United States? How do you kind of relate to the administration?
For a long, long time, 60 or 70 years, I think there's been a weekly breakfast or lunch with the Treasury Secretary and the Fed chair. And that's what I've had with Treasury Secretaries that I've had as Fed chair. I've also had regular, or call it irregular lunches with the head of the NEC. We also have regularly scheduled lunches with the Council of Economic Advisors. And that's really the institutional structure of our contacts with the administration.
So in the way the Fed works today, if you could reconstruct the operations of the Fed, would you change the legislation in any way? Would you think the Fed operates in a way that's as efficient as you can realistically operate?
We're not looking for any changes to the Federal Reserve Act. I mean, I think it does work. The structure that I discussed earlier, where you've got the 12 Reserve Bank presidents coming in, what that assures, really, it institutionalizes diversity of thought. So we get different people coming in who've got different backgrounds, different careers, and they think different ways. And I think that's enormously beneficial to our decision-making process.
So there has been discussion recently about the Fed, some Fed members, Fed board presidents, selling their securities and maybe not doing everything they were supposed to do in terms of disclosing it. What have you done to fix that process?
We put a new system and a new set of rules in place, which I think are best in class for a public institution like the Fed. And the innovations were that if someone wants to sell something that they own or buy something, they have to clear that in advance with staff at the Board of Governors, and then you've got to wait 45 days for that to execute. Also, you can't own individual stocks, and you can only authorize these transactions or execute them during specific times. And we just, of course, all of these are disclosed. If your idea is to trade things, buy and sell them because you think this stock is cheap and that kind of thing, that's just not something that will work.